Ever felt like a complete failure? Like no matter what you do, everything just falls apart. Like the whole universe is working against you. Well, guess what? What I'm about to tell you could completely flip the way you see your failures, starting today. Failure isn't punishment. Failure means you're moving. It's proof you're alive, that you're trying, that you've got the guts to challenge the status quo. And today, I'll show you why the people who made it to the top tripped and fell 1,000 times on the way, and why you need to stop seeing your failures as dead ends and start seeing them as stepping stones.
Let's face it, if you've never failed, you've never really tried. Think about it. When you were learning how to walk, how many times did you fall? Dozens? Hundreds? And still, you kept getting back up. Nobody looked at that wobbly 1-year-old and said, "Wow, what a disaster." Of course not. Everyone knew falling was part of the process. But then we grow up, and suddenly every little stumble feels like a sign to quit. Society conditions us to believe failure equals shame, that it means you're not good enough, that it's better not to try than to try and fall on your face. That's a lie. And it's dangerous. Failure is feedback. It's data. It's the universe saying, "Nope, not this way. Try another path." And you know what separates the quitters from the winners? Not talent, not luck. It's how they read their failures. Remember Darby? The guy who gave up just 3 feet from gold. He failed when his fortune was literally a meter away. Years later, he realized that failure was the best disguised blessing of his life. Because he learned something big. Not every no means stop. Not every failure means you failed. That experience taught him if he really wanted success, he'd have to keep digging, even when everything screamed, "Quit!" That was the lesson he needed before success showed up. He realized defeat is just part of the setup for opportunity. Not a wall, but a staircase. And you? What lesson are your failures trying to teach you? How many times have you put down the shovel when you were just 3 feet from your gold? Now, let's get real. The biggest battle? It's up here. Your mind. Your mind creates your reality. Winners program themselves for success. Losers get stuck replaying failure tapes on loop. You've got to stop seeing yourself as a victim of bad luck and start seeing yourself as the person who's about to break the cycle. Henry Ford is the perfect example. When he wanted to build the V8 engine, 8 cylinders in one block, every engineer told him it's impossible, can't be done. And you know what he said? Build it anyway. Not maybe you're right, not let's try something easier, just build it anyway. Months of failure, broken prototypes, wasted money, people calling him crazy. Then one day, it worked. The impossible became real. The difference wasn't that Ford was smarter. It's that he refused to accept impossible as an answer. And you? What impossible have you been accepting without question? Now, regardless of what you spiritually believe, I want to show you something truly universal. Stories that transcend religions, cultures, and eras. This is the essence of human resilience, proving that the greatest growth emerges from what seemed like the biggest failure. Think of Moses. Before leading an entire people to freedom, pulling them out of slavery, he made a grave mistake. He killed a man. He had to flee, live in isolation in the desert for 40 years, tending sheep. 40 years that could seem like wasted time, a meaningless exile. But it was precisely during this period of apparent failure and isolation that he profoundly prepared himself for a monumental mission, one that would change the course of history and free millions. Those years in the desert forged the leader he needed to be. Consider Buddha. He dedicated years to a relentless pursuit of enlightenment, pushing asceticism to the extreme, nearly starving himself and suffering to death. He reached rock bottom. It was only when he stopped, accepted help, and renounced extremes that he finally found the middle way, achieving enlightenment and sharing wisdom that ignited the consciousness of millions. His failure to find truth in suffering guided him to true wisdom. And Muhammad? At the beginning of his journey, he was rejected, ridiculed, and persecuted in Mecca. His message was misunderstood. His life was in danger, forcing him to flee to Medina. What seemed like an overwhelming defeat, having to abandon his hometown, became the monumental turning point. It was in Medina that he consolidated his community and expanded his influence, transforming what was a setback into a springboard for his message to spread across the globe. Do you see the pattern here? In every great tradition, in every legend of overcoming adversity, failure is never the final chapter. It is, in fact, the prelude to true wisdom, the catalyst for a strength you never even knew you possessed. As it is said in many timeless texts, the sufferings of this present time are nothing compared to the glory waiting for us. No matter what you believe, today's struggle is shaping tomorrow's strength.
Let me share something personal. A failure isn't someone who lost. A failure is someone who quits. I've had moments where I thought, this is it. I'm done. Projects flopped. Relationships ended. Opportunities slipped through my fingers. And every time I thought that was the failure, the end, proof I wasn't good enough. But you know what? Looking back, every failure was prepping me for something bigger. That project taught me skills I still use. That relationship prepared me for the right one. That missed opportunity made space for something better. I didn't suddenly become some failure-loving guru. I just changed the question I ask when things go wrong. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Now I ask, what's this teaching me? How's this preparing me for my next level? As Psalm 23 says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The valley isn't your destination. It's just part of the journey.
So one last question. Are you breathing? If you're breathing, you're still in the game. So get up, dust yourself off, refocus, and get back in the ring. Because at the end of the day, it's not the lucky ones who win. It's the ones who stay standing. The ones who get that every fall has a purpose, that failure is just data, not a death sentence. You are not your failure. You are what you choose to do next. You are who you decide to become after the fall. Maybe right now you're walking through your own valley of shadows. Maybe you feel like you've lost everything. But hear this. The valley isn't your destination. It's your preparation. And who knows, maybe you're just 3 feet from your gold. If this video helped you, hit that like button. Let's get this message to others who need it. And in the comments, tell me what failure in your life now feels like preparation. I believe in you. And more importantly, I believe your failures are making you stronger than you've ever been. See you in the next one.